Welcome to the Big Bang Basketball Channel. Today we're going over the topic, top worst team records in NBA history. Kindly subscribe and enjoy the video. The NBA has produced many distasteful teams over the years, but the ones on this list stand out from the crowd. Given that the most recent Brooklyn Nets teams don't even come close to making the list, you can see how god-awful these teams are. The fact that none of the teams on this list were playing in their inaugural NBA season makes them all the worse. None of the expansion franchises that struggled so much in their first season compared to this group. Number 5. 1997-98 Denver Nuggets, 11-71. The Denver Nuggets were one win away from advancing to the Western Conference Finals in the 1993-94 season, but they fell to Utah in Game 7. Although there was anticipation for the team's future, things would only get worse from that point on. The Nuggets finished 21-61 in the 1995-96 season after Dikembe Mutombo left in free agency, but the worst was yet to come. They gave up promising young center Antonio McDyess in the following offseason in exchange for future draft picks. They acquired Eric Williams from Boston and Johnny Newman from Milwaukee. Williams, the team's leading scorer with 19.8 points per game, played in just 4 games this season due to a knee injury, and boy did they struggle without him. The Nuggets were 0-12 to begin the campaign. They won 2 of their subsequent 5 games, but then dropped 23 straight. They were 2-38 after 40 games and appeared destined to finish with the worst record in NBA history. Later, a 16-game losing streak didn't help. By winning 6 of the final 19 games, they were able to avoid finishing with the worst record in NBA history. The following seasons wouldn't be much better. The Nuggets passed on Dirk Nowitzki, Paul Pierce, and Vince Carter in the 1998 draft and kept messing up until the 2003 draft when they selected Carmelo Anthony. Number 4. 1992-93 Dallas Mavericks, 11-71. Although now we think of the Mavericks as a fairly well-run business, during the 1990s they were essentially a joke. In the 1989-1990 season, they reached the playoffs, but they wouldn't return for the following 10 years. Before the 1991-92 season, the Mavericks' trouble started when Ray Tarpley was expelled from the league for violating the league's drug policy a 3rd time. Pat Lever, a 2-time All-Star who was acquired in 1990, would suffer terribly from injuries. The Mavs also traded leading scorer Rolando Blackman in the offseason after a 22-60 campaign in 1991 and 1992. The 1992-93 season got off to a terrible start. Lever was ruled out for the entire season, and Jim Jackson, the 4th overall pick in the draft, declined to sign on because of a contract dispute that would last until March. They had a record of 4-50 when Jackson finally joined the team after having an 0-15 start to the season and briefly being 2-30. It's safe to say these Mavs would have certainly ended up with the worst record had he not joined. Jackson helped them win 7 out of the last 28 games, including the final 2 of the season, to ensure they wouldn't end up with the worst record in NBA history. This disastrous season for the Mavs included 3 losing streaks over 10 games, with the longest being 19. They finished with the worst point differential in NBA history at negative 15.2 points per game. Number 3. 2015-16 Philadelphia 76ers, 10-72. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, 2 franchise cornerstones, appear to have been the final results of the 76ers' decision to trust the process. But the process was certainly difficult. Philadelphia had one of the worst 3-year stretches in NBA history, winning just 47 games over the course of those 3 seasons, which began in 2013 and 14 and ended with the dreadful 15-16 campaign. After giving up Andre Iguodala in a 3-team trade for Andrew Bynum in 2012, the Sixers' fortunes began to decline. Due to injuries, Bynum would never take the field for Philadelphia. In the 2013-2014 season, the Sixers began their tanking strategy by dealing Drew Holiday for Nerlens Noel and a 2014 draft pick. Michael Carter-Williams, a fellow rookie, would win Rookie of the Year while Noel would miss the entire season. In 14-15, they selected Embiid, who would miss his first 2 NBA seasons, and exchanged Williams for draft picks. The following season was a complete bust due to injuries and trading away their best players. They started 0-18 despite rookie Jahlil Okafor having a strong season, which when added to a 10-game losing streak from the previous year, resulted in a record-breaking 28-game losing streak. Additionally, they had 2 12-game losing streaks and another of 13 games that season. In their 78th game, they earned win number 10 to prevent themselves from finishing with the worst record in NBA history. Number 2. 1972-73 Philadelphia 76ers, 9-73. The Sixers hold the dubious distinction of experiencing 2 of the NBA's top 5 worst seasons. In 1967, Philadelphia won the NBA championship and set a new regular season record with 68 victories. They had the worst season in NBA history just 6 seasons later. It's simple to understand why the Sixers failed that year. Coach Jack Ramsey, who is in the Hall of Fame, left the team before the 1972-73 season to join the Buffalo Braves, and Hall of Famer Billy Cunningham left for the ABA. Archie Clark, an All-Star, had also been traded away the season before. The first 15 games of the season were losses for them. After 62 games, the Sixers had a record of 4-58, a winning percentage of 0.065, and a losing streak of 14 games, and a then record 20 games. At that rate, they would finish the season 5-37. Surprisingly, they went on to win 5 of their next 7 games, including a victory over the eventual champion Knicks. As they lost their final 13 games to finish with the worst record in an 82-game NBA season, the optimism wouldn't last much longer. They would, however, rebound quickly from the disappointment and reach 4 NBA Finals and win 1 title in the 10 years that followed this horrific season. There is hope that the current Sixers bunch can follow in their footsteps and return to the top. 2011-2012 Charlotte Bobcats, 7-59. The Charlotte Bobcats are widely regarded as the worst NBA team in history. Thankfully for them, the lockout-shortened season with only 66 games made the 2011-2012 Bobcats god-awful. They should have never been in this position because of a combination of injuries and talentlessness. Larry Brown guided the franchise's iteration known as the Bobcats to its first winning record and a playoff appearance in 2009-2010. The Bobcats received marginal players in return when Gerald Wallace and Tyson Chandler were traded during and before the 10-11 season, respectively. During the 2010-11 season, Brown was fired or resigned, and the Bobcats ultimately missed the playoffs. Before the 11-12 season began, Steven Jackson, the team's leading scorer, was traded for Corey Maggette and a draft pick. They started the season 2-4, but went 5-55 the rest of the way. Maggette only played 32 games due to injury, and DJ Augustin also missed some time. The 2 players drafted, Kemba Walker and Bismack Biyombo, had decent rookie campaigns, but nothing spectacular. After the 2-4 start, the Bobcats were 7-36, thanks to a 16-game losing streak, but were seemingly in no danger of posting the worst record percentage-wise in NBA history, but they did. The Bobcats lost their final 23 games to end with a woeful winning percentage of .106, just lower than the 1972-73 Sixers. To their credit, they have rebounded well from the disaster and made 2 playoff appearances in the following 4 seasons. Thanks for watching. If you have watched this video till the end, you are amazing. If you want to watch more amazing videos like this, kindly subscribe and click the like button to become part of our family.